Hi everybody. I had a few people ask about the app that I use for stitching, so I thought I'd make a quick video to show you. It is called Pattern Keeper and it is currently only available for Android. You cannot use it on an Apple device. You can use it on a PC or a Chromebook if you use an Android emulator like BlueStacks. But in my opinion, it was absolutely worth the cost of buying myself an Android device just for stitching. This is a Kindle Fire 8-inch, which I got on like a Black Friday sale, so it was very reasonably priced. It does not come with the Google Play Store automatically installed. You have to do that yourself, but I will post a link to the tutorial that I used to do it. It took me less than 10 minutes, and I am not a tech-savvy person, but I got it working no problem. So it was a really good deal. So Pattern Keeper was made by a stitcher for stitchers, so it has so many features that we all wish we had on other apps, and they're all included here. So I have all my different patterns that I'm going to do stored in here, imported. And one nice thing you can do is you can view the mock-up, so it will show you approximately what it's going to look like stitched up. That way, if any of the colors seem to be off, you can go in and change them and then see the mock-up change, or you can change them yourself. Like for instance, one pattern I have calls for a metallic thread. I don't really like stitching with metallic thread, so I just changed it to DMC's Winter White, so it's still a little bit sparkly but not metallic. And you can do that by, by selecting, oh, come on. Of course, when you're trying to show somebody. By edit legend, and then you can go in and you can change, you can edit these symbols and pick a different color, and it will change the mock-up for you to see how it looks different. So that's a really nice feature. And also some patterns that aren't fully supported, you have to enter the numbers in manually first, and then you get the full searchability features. So not every PDF will work with this app. You can scan in PDFs, but you won't have the searchability. You'll only be able to use it to mark off stitches. But if you use, there's a lot of the major companies like Heaven and Earth Designs, and this is an Artecy design, works with them. A lot of, I've found patterns on Etsy work just fine. You can even ask the seller if it's Pattern Keeper compatible, because a lot of them make sure that it is now, so that you can use it with this absolutely amazing app. And it saves automatically to your device, but you can also export it to an outside cloud device or email it to yourself. And then that way you can have your progress backed up just in case something happens to your tablet, or you want to stitch between two different devices. As this doesn't automatically sync, you can use that. So the actual features in the stitching are just awesome. So of course you got the full zoom in, zoom out. It searches for the colors for you automatically, which is the best part in my opinion, because when you're searching manually, you would always miss one or two, right? And then have to fill it in later. So that's really, really nice. And then also it has a feature, it tells you how many stitches you have of each color left. And as you stitch them and mark them off, this number will go down. So it's very exciting when you get to the end of a pattern and seeing these all go down to zeros. So much fun. And also there's all sorts of different features in the settings. So I have it on the light theme, but there is a dark theme if you prefer it that way. Some people find it a little easier on the eyes. Also, you can choose different colors for marking it if you prefer. I found, or for your diagonal lines or for your page lines, you can change all those colors for your highlighting. So say if your highlight color is in pink and you're working in a section that's a lot of pink, you can change it to something else so that those highlighted stitches show up more easily, which is really nice. You can also have it set so that your completed stitches are in a flat color. So they're just a basic gray instead of being filled in with the correct colors if you prefer it that way. And there's also an option to use translucent colors. So it's more like if you were using a highlighter. So I'll zoom right in here so you can see what I'm talking about. So you can actually see what the symbol is behind that marked off color if you prefer it that way. It's more like when you work with paper and highlighters that way. So that's a really nice feature that's in there too. And you can toggle on and off the page breaks if you prefer. I just stitch it as one big continuous pattern, especially because I do diagonal stitching, but you can, if you prefer to stitch by page, you can keep it like that, and you can see the dashed lines here show your different pages if you prefer to stitch by page. And also there is, let me just find, oh, you can mark the center of your grid if you like, so you can know where you are. Diagonal lines, you can have them set going this way, you can have them set going this way, you can have them both on at the same time if you like. You can make your diagonal lines 20 stitches wide instead of 10. It's very easy to customize. Also, we have here, it will tell you how many stitches you have stitched today, how many stitches you have stitched total, and how many stitches are in the entire pattern and what percentage you have completed. So that's fun. And nice way to keep track of your progress. There's also, you can set up shortcuts for double taps. And I have mine set up so that when you are in move mode, if you double tap, just have to go far enough so you can see the symbols. If you double tap on a symbol, it will search and highlight that symbol. You can turn it off again. And also I have it set up for parking. So if you have a single stitch, I'll just highlight this here. And let's say I'm parking it here, double tap automatically. And you can set that parking mark to go in any of the corners. I have mine set in the upper right because that's how I do it. So, and actually you can undo it that way too. Oh, there you go. So really, really useful. There's also, I'll show you on one I'm not stitching currently, but there are ways that you can mark a bunch of stitches really quickly. So for instance, if you use a long press, I can select all unfinished highlighted stitches in the square, so I'll only do that color, or on that page if I like, which is really nice if, say, you had a pattern you half finished and you want to quickly mark off what you had done already. Or if you do this with no color selected, oh, look at that, okay. Or if you do this with no color selected, do a long press, you can also just select all the stitches in the square or all the stitches on a page. So it's a nice way that you can do it without having to manually go through each one and figure it out that way. All right, so I think that's just about everything. And like I said, I cannot recommend this app enough. It has almost doubled my stitching time because I am no longer having to search through the color key, looking for that symbol that you know is there, but you've gone through the color key 3 times and you just can't find it. It's so frustrating, right? This does all that work for you. You don't have to search for it. It's just absolutely wonderful. And I love watching these numbers count down to 0 when I get to the end. Sort of gives you a little sense of accomplishment after you finish each one. All right, so thanks for watching, everybody, and happy stitching. Bye.